Welcome to the Nosco Unpacked podcast. I'm Chris Ferzel, Director of Solutions Engineering, and I'm joined today by Gary T. from TIPA. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you, Chris. Pleasure to be here today, and thank you for the opportunity to do the podcast. I'm over from the UK on a trip, so pleasure to be here and looking forward to it.
We're so happy to have you join us. We've been looking forward to this since Jake certainly said you were coming. So our time together today has been wonderful, and certainly it's been great to learn more about your products and what you're trying to do as an organization. So thank you for taking the time.
You're welcome.
So maybe just if you can share a little bit about your background and how you got into sustainability in that space.
Yeah, sure. So I joined TIPA 7 years ago, really totally dedicated to the compostable space. Before that, I did 30 odd years in conventional plastics. So I was very familiar with all the conventional materials that the industry uses, polyesters, polythenes and polypropylenes. And I was always looking for a new way for the future and introducing new materials. And my background was in innovation as well. So as part of that journey at my previous employer I discovered TIPA. And as part of that, it made me aware of the amazing products that TIPA has.
Sure.
I liked it so much, I decided to join them 7 years ago and basically look to promote and roll out the compostable packaging into the market globally.
So you were essentially on the same side of the desk as I am today, right? Metaphorically, right? Being in the converting space, producing packaging, and you discovered this really exciting technology. And so you jumped across desk, so to speak, and became a supplier to our industry.
Exactly. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So I was sitting exactly where you were, talking to material suppliers, talking about printing, laminating, and using new materials. And I'm using that knowledge that I gained on your side of the desk, if you like, to help our converting customers around the world, offer compostable solutions to their customers.
Well, I love that story, Gary. I think, from where I sit, having that empathy or deep understanding of our space certainly empowers you in ways that with those without that experience wouldn't really understand what we're up against in regards to converting and the challenges we face. So that's fantastic. You kind of touched on something earlier in regards to your journey and discovering TIPA, but can you tell us more about what TIPA's mission is and how does it contribute to the future of compostable packaging?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a very, very focused company. Unlike other packaging suppliers, we only offer one solution, which is compostability. That doesn't mean we have one product, though. So TIPA is very much a global leader in the compostable market space. So the materials that we offer are designed and patented by us, by our chemists, our own formulation.
Okay.
And we as a company very much listen to the market, listen to where compostables can have a place and have value, and then we look to develop products to meet those needs. And that's allowed us to create a broad range of solutions which are open, obviously, to yourselves and to your customers to help move products away from hard to recycle products, possibly into compostable solutions.
Sure. Do you travel quite a bit in your role as far as meeting with customers, talking through solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a global role. So my responsibility is to work with our global converting customers. So that's everywhere from New Zealand, Australia, Europe, and obviously the US as well. So that gives me a great global perspective on how different countries view compostables, what solutions work in different markets, an understanding of legislation, because legislation changes around the world as well.
Yes, it does.
And composting standards as well. There's different certification for different regions. So it's a great global perspective, which I can then share with our customers.
The sustainability needs, right, here in the US are likely very different from those that you're encountering in other parts of the world. You talk about the breadth of your travels from down under to many other parts of the globe, right? But across there, are you seeing some common messaging from customers in regards to what you're hearing on this front?
Yeah, I think, the people that currently use compostable packaging today are doing it really because it's something they believe in. It's not yet being driven from a legislative point of view.
Sure.
More of an emotional sale, which is fine. I think people make choices on materials as to meet their brand values. That said, we are starting to see emerging legislation. I think as the market moves on and recycling is moving forward, it's facing its challenges. And I think we're now seeing where compostables can enter the market to complement that process as well. So we see the marketplace in the future as a combination of recycling and composting. And
Okay.
together,
Okay.
it'll allow more materials to be processed at the end of life.
That's fascinating. In your mind, what your products, right, as far as the barrier and compostable films, you sound like you're in a very unique position as far as your product line.
Yeah, we are fortunate that we're restricted by ourselves. So it is down to our chemists to come up with the formulations
Sure.
and the structures and the materials. And we're very lucky to have a very talented bunch of guys back at head office that can create some amazingly new materials for us. I think we're very fortunate as well having great partners, whether that be customers or manufacturing partners. So that allows us to manipulate and modify products to make them more refined over time, to allow them to truly replace conventional plastics. Our products are patented, as I said, so that in a way protects that
Yes.
innovation and that IP that we
Sure.
invest in these products as well.
Sure. You had mentioned earlier that the time of development is considerably longer than maybe some other products,
Mm.
and that certainly speaks to your needs as far as making sure that you have that patent protection with such not only the time invested but also the capital. So that's great to hear that you've got these items patented. Um, I guess maybe if we could shift gears a little bit, how does TIPA ensure these films integrate smoothly with existing packaging lines and processes? With your experience coming from the converting side, this is probably near and dear to your heart too.
Absolutely. So our job is to try and make it as easy as possible to go compostable. And we're very familiar with the conventional plastics that are in the market, so the polythenes, polypropylenes, polyesters, and laminates.
Sure,
We also understand the interface between the material and the packing process, and also the printing and the laminating machinery as well. So our vision, if you like, is to allow the compostables to pass through this process without incurring capital cost in terms of new machinery. So our materials are designed to be produced on conventional polythene extrusion lines, so blown and cast films, conventional flexo and digital presses, lamination technology, and right the way through to the packing machinery as well, whether that's vertical,
sure.
horizontal, flow wrap, or pouches. So we've all the way through this tried to design it in a way that enables it to utilize all of that equipment that's in the market today and to enable that choice to be a much easier choice for the customers.
I think one thing that comes to mind as you're describing the I guess the insurance or the assurance you're providing, right, as far as your materials being compatible with equipment. There's certainly a significant change here that you're communicating the value to potential customers. Do you find that the compatibility with the equipment is that the biggest one, or are there others?
Yeah, I think the compatibility with existing customers allows that choice to be made much easier. Barrier properties is one, so we have to make
Sure.
sure we have the right barrier to protect the product. Packaging, we should never forget, is about protecting product and getting it from A to B in
Yep.
a state that the consumer is going to be happy with.
Yep.
So there's many factors, and definitely performance on packaging machinery is one of them. So it is a series of processes that we take the customer through to ultimately get them to be a compostable customer.
Absolutely. Um, let's maybe shift gears again to what would you say from a certified compostability? What does that mean? Why is that important for the industry and consumers?
Yeah.
Where do you see that?
Yeah, the certification for TIPA is crucial. It brings credibility to our sector.
Okay.
At the end of the day, our materials are designed to be composted and returned to the soil. So we have to do that in a responsible way. We have to make sure we're not introducing anything into the ground that would be toxic, that would be harmful to the bacteria, the microbes that are so important in that composting process.
Sure.
And we should never forget that the compost that is created as a result of this, we're going to grow our food from. So this integrity, if you like, goes all the way through to any future crops that are grown on that land that the compost is used on. So for us, certification is vital. So that includes materials, inks, adhesives, the way through the process. So it's a cornerstone of the sector, I would say.
That's fantastic. In regards to your mission, right? And you touch on some critical points here as far as I hear it. You didn't come out and say it, but I heard it come through, and that is do no harm.
Yeah, one of the phrases we like to use at TIPA is nature will never know we were here. We want to provide a solution in the market that will do an amazing job for the product and everyone involved in that process.
Sure.
And then afterwards, it returns to nature through the composting process without a legacy, if you like, in the future that anybody's going to be upset with. So for us, that's crucial.
What are some common misconceptions about compostable packaging that you'd like to clarify for our audience?
Sure. Yeah, I think there is we like to use the phrase compostability at TIPA, not biodegradability. And I think that as a sector phrase is an important one. So biodegradability does not equal compostability. The two processes are linked.
Sure.
But for our sector to have true value, we have to be certified compostable. So a material that is classified as biodegradable may not meet toxicity tests. It may not be processed in the right timescale for a composter to actually manage that material through their facility. So I think we have to draw that distinction between biodegradability and compostability. And for us, it's all around compostability.
Sure. What's a trend inside or outside of packaging that you're keeping an eye on right now?
Yeah, for me, I think we fit into a much bigger space than just packaging.
Sure.
Compost is a very much under recognized material. It's used by farmers to replace lost topsoil. And that naturally then brings nutrition back into the soil for future plant life. And one of the movies I watched a couple of years ago was Kiss the Ground. It's an amazing movie, and it talks about farming techniques in America and how that changed after the Second World War. And it can change back to something that's a little less chemical and more of an organic process.
Sure.
So for me, that's a fascinating area. The regenerative farming area is something that we're seeing growing, and the big brands are starting to adopt it. And the compostable packaging through that compost is very much part of that process. One to look for.
I really appreciated our earlier discussion where you were touching on how this product and this product line and this approach, I was a little bit mystified as far as how this fits into the circular economy. And I think that example you just gave regarding topsoil and composting clarified it for me. So thank you for that. So Gary, what advice would you give to brands looking to explore compostable packaging?
Okay. So, these are new materials. Okay. And I think the key for anybody looking to move into the compostable space is to choose the right partners. The materials need to be handled in a slightly different way, different settings on machines, slightly different barrier properties. You've got the certification to consider as well.
Yes, we do.
You've got the supply chain as well. So for us, it's really about making the right connections with the right companies like yourselves, like Nosco. They can take a customer on that journey with our help, obviously, with the expertise that we have with our products to ultimately give your customer the right end experience and make that transition to compostables.
Great. Well, Gary, thanks for joining us. I really enjoyed our time together. And again, I've learned a tremendous amount from you in a short amount of time. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Chris. Great opportunity to talk today, and always a pleasure, and looking forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nosco Unpacked podcast. We hope you found today's conversation to be insightful and look forward to having you join us again sometime soon. Thanks, Gary.
Well, thank you.